Hey, welcome to Traffic Hacks Social. The goal is to teach you how to maximize your website traffic given the social signals. So, what is in this course module? Well, any website or every website, from e-commerce store, affiliate site, Amazon shop, even just a simple text blog, needs traffic to work, right? And you can get traffic one of three ways. You can get it with social, which is what we're talking about here, paid ads, or organic search. So let's dive into social, and let me try to give you just a complete brain dump of best practices with social traffic generation. And I'm going to try to stay out of the jargony stuff a little bit and just give you the meat, give you the stuff that you need to know. In case you're new to this, social traffic, or I guess social networking here, consists of basically everything where you socialize with other people. That's Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, Reddit, even niche sites that are related to whatever I guess niche that you're in, right? You could have a plumbers association, a paintball forum. It doesn't matter, right? So anywhere you interact with people is where you can get traffic from, because as you interact with them on the sites, they can come to you and you get your traffic. So for purposes of this course, I'm going to focus on the big ones, which are Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. These guys, especially Facebook, but all three of them together comprise the majority of social traffic. Now, you're going to get more targeted traffic from something specific to your niche or your industry, but let's just keep it at a high level here, and you can extrapolate my recommendations for whatever other website you want to apply it to. But for now, let's just look at these big three. So real quick, my background with social traffic, I started in the web consultancy space back in '96. I was in college, and I would do websites for local businesses, and even picked up Southwestern Bell as a client while I was still in college. It was new, making banner ads, making websites, stuff like that. I did a couple .coms, and I started my own agency around 2002, 2003 to do web consulting. And as part of that, I did everything from branding to database development. And of course, as part of that would be social media strategies, especially as time went on. As Facebook became more popular, as niche forums became more popular, it became clear that if you wanted to engage with your audience, with your customers, with your prospects, if you wanted to have a conversation with those guys, then you would need to take advantage of social. So, as part of a full service agency, that's how I got exposed to it. I veered into SEO for a little bit, which is where a lot of my focus is now. But also, as recently as this year, I released a social traffic product called Bullet Viral Traffic, which heavily leverages social, specifically Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and a few others for generating website traffic. Essentially, it teaches you or shows you or enables you to automatically post viral related content to your site and your social to pull in traffic. So as of right now, there are tens of thousands of sites that are using this, and so I would say I'm pretty well versed in trying to maximize social traffic, and so that's what I'm going to try to share with you today. So as you begin to implement your social marketing strategy, you have to remember that each platform has its own standards and conventions and best practices. So that means if you're on Reddit, you want to make sure that nothing you post has obvious commercial intent. Those guys will swarm all over you and squash you because they're very protective of their community. On the other hand, Facebook, a little more liberal, right? You've got these guys that constantly have their newsfeed running, and your post is one of them. And if it's got some commercial intent, not as big a deal. So just remember, tailor that message to the audience and how they like to be reached. And I'll go into that a whole lot more here in a bit. So a cool stat before we dive in here is that in 2014, almost a third of traffic was driven from social. So just think of all the effort that people are putting into buying ads or to engaging in SEO, but social is right here, ready to be taken advantage of. And the trend is that social is taking over. It's already up 8% from 2013. So that means if you're not investing in it now, you definitely need to be investing in it for this year and for next year. and you don't want to be left behind as more and more traffic gets sent this direction. So me personally, I think the reason that some of this is happening is we're all becoming more intermeshed and dependent upon our social networks, our Facebook accounts, our Twitter accounts, etc. And we're more likely to trust our followers and our friends as they put posts on their network accounts, right? So when your tribe or when your group or your followers starts posting things, you're more likely to listen than just a paid ad or a Google search result. So I think this trend is only going to increase, and so that's why you should definitely be taking advantage of it. So as far as sending traffic from social, Facebook is by far the king. So if you look at these graphs, you can see that year over year, month over month, Facebook is constantly growing their market share. And if you look at that right graph here, look at the increase year over year that Facebook has. It's absolutely amazing. And if you look, this surprised me when I was digging up these stats, that Pinterest currently has over 5% of social media traffic referrals. So just take a second and think, if you've got a website, how can you integrate Pinterest into it to take advantage of that? And on the other hand, look at the small market share that these other social sites actually drive, right? Twitter, 0.82%, that is absolutely horrible, right? Why aren't people spending so much time on Twitter if it's not generating that much traffic? You could get a whole lot more bang for the buck on Facebook. So my strategy is I want the best results, the maximum results for the minimum amount of effort. And clearly by looking at this graph here, it's amazing, right? Facebook is by far and away the leader. So something like LinkedIn and YouTube, look at that. They just have a teeny tiny pittance of traffic generation. So I think those are both a little bit unique cases because paid ads on those tend to work a whole lot better. But as far as organic traffic, organic social traffic, natural coming through, those top three are the entire game. So knowing that we're going to have to post to Facebook, what type of content do those guys like? What do they engage with? So when you begin to develop your editorial calendar, your overall marketing strategy for posting to social, you have to know what to post. So what are the secrets for getting better engagement at Facebook? I've done a whole lot of research on this when coming up with my viral product. And ultimately what I found was all these surveys, all this research kind of points to the same handful of factors to get a good engagement with Facebook. First is you have to have a great photo, right? You need a photo that inspires curiosity, makes you want to zoom in and see what that little circle is, see what's in there, or make it be abstract, right? So it's a zoom in so far that you can't quite tell what the picture is and make it out. Make it inspire you to click it. Or it could be a landscape, right? And the landscape is shrunk so small because it's a thumbnail that you want to click it to see the big landscape. The second thing you want to make sure you have is a catchy title. So we all kind of laugh and make fun of the clickbait titles, right? 3 easy steps to blank, or top 10 things you must see before you die, that type of thing. Well, if you notice, those titles are very, they inspire curiosity as well, right? They're very, they're kind of like crack. We want to listen. We want to read it. We want to take the 10 seconds it takes to understand what is in that article and if it's worth it. And the title and photo together are by far the 2 biggest things that you can do to make sure you get those clicks and shares. So the other thing is, it's obvious that Facebook posts that contain a link inspire more clicks. So people like seeing that little blue thing that they can click, and it inspires more interaction when they see it. Next, and this may be counterintuitive to a lot of people, short titles, even as little as 40 characters or less, get much higher engagement. So I think this plays very much into the curiosity aspect. You don't want to explain your whole story. You don't want to give away the lead. You just want to tease people and make them click through. And Ryan Deiss talks a lot about this with his email marketing. his email sequences approach. In essence, you tease the people and you train them to click. Well, the Facebook posts are the same way. You tease them, you kind of lead them. Hey, here are the 27 things to do when you go to China. And people want to click through and see what it's all about. Next, you want to make sure to be posting on a predictable schedule. So if everybody knows that you post on Mondays and Wednesdays, be sure to post on Mondays and Wednesdays. And there are a lot of tools that I'm going to go over that you can use to help make the schedule for you and kind of automate the process. But the bottom line is people love predictability. And so if you can give it to them, then you're going to reap the results. Viral components are another amazing thing that you can incorporate into Facebook and truly any social post to get higher engagement levels. And I'll talk about that in a whole lot of depth a little bit later. But the bottom line is you need to inspire curiosity. You need to attack people where they're sensitive. And I say attack in a good way. That way you can get those shares that ultimately get you the clicks, get you the traffic. And last but not least, you need to make sure things are timed right. You don't want to post at 4 o'clock in the morning when everybody's asleep, because by the time they wake up, you're already going to be scrolled way off the page and you're irrelevant. So just remember there's timing components to this too. So one more thing before I move on here is that Facebook has an algorithm that looks at your engagement levels and shares your articles or your posts with more people as they get higher engagement. So what this means is if you're constantly posting stuff that people don't like, then they're going to skip over it and they're going to show it to less and less people. So right now, say you have 100 fans of your page and you make a post, chances are 7 people or 6 people are going to see it. Crazy, isn't it? So all those people who wanted to see it are not going to, and you're going to get 6 or 7 that do. So what happens is those 6 or 7 people, if they engage with it, like it and share it, then it'll expand and your audience will grow to 20 people. And then if those guys engage in it, it'll continue to grow. So you need to make sure to post good content. On the flip side, you need to make sure your users are also real and they also engage. So a lot of people go to Fiverr and buy 5,000 real followers, but they're not real followers. And so what happens is you now have 5,000 people that aren't real. Okay, so what happens when you make a post that goes out to 5,000 fake people? 5,000 fake people don't interact with your post. And so Facebook looks at your posts and they go, 5,000 people saw it and nobody liked it. Nobody shared it. Well, I'm not going to show it to anybody else, any of those real fans. So stay far, far away from the fake Facebook fans. And at the same time, make sure when you post, it's good, meaty stuff. Okay, let's move on. So to continue the thread here of what to post, here is a graph showing the interaction levels based on the Facebook post length. So as you can see, tiny, short posts get a much higher percentage of likes and shares. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So you get the people who write the big old books, and for the most part, the big old books don't do so well, right? They do 50% worse than the teeny tiny posts. So just remember, keep things short and sweet. We're kind of the MTV or the ADD generation, ADHD generation. Everybody has a short attention span. You need to grab them. You need to grab them quickly and do it with a short amount of text, right? That way they can scan your post in 5 seconds and then figure out what they want to do, whether they want to like it or skip it. So give them content the way they want to consume it, and you're going to have great success. So when to post. Now, the timing of when to post is really based upon the recipient, right? So if I'm saying you need to post at 1 p.m., that means for the recipient. So when you maximize your post engagement, you need to aim to hit that target audience whenever they are at work, right? So what happens is people go to lunch, they come back, and that's when they engage. So just a real quick read here of the bullets. Post on Thursday or Friday, see a little bit higher engagement than posts Monday through Wednesday. Posts at 1 p.m. get more shares. Posts at 3 p.m. get more click-throughs. And if you think about it, it's pretty logical. People come back from lunch, they don't want to dive back into work. They want to goof off for just a little bit, and so they do. And then as far as click-throughs are concerned, it's the end of the day. People have a little bit more time. They're about to leave. Well, let me go through and click through this website and see what's going on. So, of course, you can get more engagement elsewhere at other times, but my goal here is to tell you when to post to get maximal results. So, of course, each industry is slightly different. Each audience is slightly different. But if you're going to start, I think this is, by research has determined that these are, on average, the best times to post. So as far as Facebook is concerned, like I said earlier, if you're posting at 4 a.m., it's going to scroll off the page before people even wake up. So this is pretty interesting. 75% of your post engagement occurs within the first 5 hours. So if people are liking, clicking, sharing, etc., that's going to happen pretty quickly in 5 hours, right? By then, it's scrolled off and people just don't dig that deep. So as far as exposure to these posts, well, that happens in the first 2.5 hours. And if you want to maximize your reach, well, all of the reach occurs in the first 2 hours. So this is when Facebook serves it up to a fraction of your audience. They see how they engage with it, and either the post dies because they don't engage with it, or they extend it out to more audience, which of course goes there beyond 2 hours. So again, it speaks to, if your post isn't seen quickly, if it's not shared quickly, then it dies a quick death. It also means that if you want to post again, then that's definitely okay. And as I said, fan page reach is well under 10%. I think right now it's hovering at around 6%. It makes me sad, right? Facebook kind of drove us all to build these fan pages so that we could interact with our audience. And now they start restricting the reach so that we can't really interact with our audience anymore unless we buy ads, which is a whole nother topic. But I guess it was a very astute move on Facebook's part, right? They have us build all these custom audiences dedicated to our product, to our tribe, and now we can't talk to them unless we pay Facebook as the gatekeeper to talk to them. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So moving on, let's talk about Twitter for a little bit. So of course, Twitter posting is a little bit tough because you're constrained, right? You don't have pictures posting directly. You don't have, or you have a limited amount of real estate or character count. So here's the question, right? What can you squeeze in so that it inspires people to retweet and to favorite those tweets? So let's dive in some interesting stats here. Images increase retweets by 150%, clicks by 18%, and favorites by 89%. So this should tell you that obviously images need to be included in any Twitter posts that you do. If you want any engagement, if you want to maximize your engagement, you've got to include images of some sort. Hopefully they're on topic, hopefully they're interesting and compelling, but definitely include those images. Images get 361% more retweets compared to videos. So as marketers, I think that's actually pretty great, right? Videos are a whole lot more complicated to produce, so why not make some images? Those get shared more in any event. Just a real quick tangent here. There's a website called Reddit, which most of you guys are probably familiar with. And Reddit is a community-driven forum where a lot of people share just random articles and images and videos. And it's interesting to see that over time, all the image links get a lot of engagement and all the video links don't. And I think this plays into the ADHD culture that we've got going on. People don't want to wait for YouTube to start buffering and loading. They don't want to wait for the site to load. They can click through the image links, which go to Imager, which loads really fast, and then they can get their little crack fix. I'm definitely guilty of that. If there's a YouTube link, I won't click it, but if there is an Imager link, then I will click it. And that's actually spawned an industry here, or a change in the industry here in the past, I guess probably a year or so, where Imager has started converting videos to animated GIFs. Of course, it's not as efficient. It doesn't have sound, but what happens is people are much more likely to click through because it's an animated image instead of a video, just because it doesn't have that overhead. So I think that's why images on Twitter get 361% more retweets. It's just more user-friendly. So the next is tweets with links get retweeted 86% more often. So of course we see the images increase, retweets, links also get retweeted. So if you're providing something useful to people, if you're giving them a link to a resource, a link to a fan page, a link to some sort of interesting snippet of content, and interesting of course is in the eye of the beholder, you're going to get more engagement, right? Because people want to share with their friends, and on Twitter it's extremely easy just to retweet. So those get more engagement. At the same time, short tweets get 17% more engagement. Just like Facebook, people want to scan, they want to consume quickly, and then they want to move on. So give them what they want, how they want it. Makes it harder as marketers, right? We have to be much more careful with our words, but ultimately it pays off with better engagement. Something else that was interesting to me anyway is that memes don't work well on Twitter. So people want information, they want resources, they want funny things, but they don't want memes. Facebook, of course, has been flooded with them. All of our friends post them. They constantly go viral. Facebook has tried to squash them, and they squashed them a little bit, but ultimately Facebook has good success with memes, but Twitter, stay away. And you know how I said earlier that the half-life for Facebook engagement, the reach is hit in just 2 hours? Look out what the half-life is here for Twitter. 75% of the results of a tweet come in the first 24 minutes. So you get guys like Guy Kawasaki. He'll post the same tweet 4 times a day just because he knows that it truly is a fire hose. And if someone's not looking at that instant when your tweet goes live, it gets lost. And so it's okay to retweet the same thing more and more and more. Interestingly, when you retweet, when you reuse that content, I really suggest that you change it, you alter it a little bit to try to increase engagement. So you may have, say it's a new product offer. Your first tweet may be, hey, I guarantee this is going to work for you, 30-day guarantee. Your second tweet may be, this product is awesome. Everybody's using it, including Google. And your third tweet may be, hey, you got to use this product and it's only going to be available for another 24 hours. In other words, you attack people at various angles, right? So you can not only split test these tweets, but you can also get max results for the people that catch more than one tweet, right? You hit them from several different emotional angles. So of course, as you post, same thing with Facebook, you want to maximize your engagement. So when should you post? So if it's a business-to-business Twitter, then you need to post during the weekdays, of course, because it gives you more engagement than the weekends. Makes sense because you're more business-minded during the business week as opposed to the weekend. Conversely, for B2C, you're going to have higher engagement, 70% higher engagement on the weekends. And that actually includes Wednesday through Sunday, right? So as the week goes on, people are more likely to engage in consumer-focused or consumer-related tweets. If you want to maximize your retweets, shoot for 5 p.m. And if you want to get the most clicks, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. There are a lot of different surveys and research done on this particular topic, and some of them conflict a little bit, but the bottom line is these hours here give you the best results, but ultimately just test with your audience, your particular audience, to max your engagement. And there are tools out there that'll actually help you schedule your tweets so that it reaches your audience, right? Because if all your audience is US based, you can kind of tweet a couple times for East Coast, West Coast type thing. But if your audience is in the UK or in India, then you need to adjust accordingly. So like I said, there are tools out there that will help optimize that. I'll talk about that in a little bit.